We also want to make sure patients can have a normal life. But I'd love to hear from our patients, Carrie and Parker, on what your goals of treatment are, and what your thoughts are on how you have encountered different treatment options throughout your journey and what has worked for you.
Yeah, I think it's initial and ongoing treatment. Like initially, I listen, I would have just taken prednisone every day and would have been happy, but apparently you can't do that. And so uh my case happened to be, a bad one. And so I had to get I'm going to butcher this, but bilateral maxillary antrostomy, sphenoidectomy, total ethmoidectomy, and frontal sinusotomy with draft-free drill out. For 6 hours. And that for me was the initial, step to get back to a baseline of just open sinuses. And then after worked consistently with Dr. Bukai on nasal irrigation, COX inhibitors, trying to figure out the right inhaler. And finally, for me, it was the biologic that was the capstone for my care to just get back to normal. I'd say last, we've had to sometimes do a dose of prednisone here and there where I might actually get a cold or a flare up seasonally of inflammation that just the normal course of care doesn't work. So really the goal was get back to that normal, and we had to fine tune where now for about like 6 years I've been in a great spot.
Awesome. Great. Carrie, your perspective?
Well, I was only diagnosed this past October. The first thing that we did was I started to use the sinus rinse with a steroid spray, and it helped a little bit. I started to have a little bit of a sense of smell, a little bit. I could breathe a little bit out of my nose, but then that started to irritate, and there was some bleeding. So that wasn't a good option for me. And then I have been very fortunate to be involved in a study where I'm taking biologics, and I've only just started it in the last month, and I've had amazing responses. My life feels very different, actually. I initially thought it was a like placebo effect, that because I was taking something that things seemed so much better. But then when I had my latest endoscopy, there really was a huge change in my polyps, and my polyps have shrunken significantly. And I'm starting to get smell back. And I didn't even really realize how bad my sense of smell was until I started to be able to smell again. And it can seem like a really little thing, but I have a couple of examples where it was actually life-threatening. We had a gas leak in our house, and I couldn't smell it. And my husband came in and he was like, "There's gas." You don't smell it. And I could not smell it. And then another time someone left something on the stove. And the water, we were steaming vegetables, and I guess the water had already steamed out. And my husband came in and he's like, "Something's burning." And I could not smell it. And so now I'm able to smell that. So I think my goal is to continue to, in this study, to see if that I experience the same amount of relief and improvement. It's just been life-changing for me.
Yeah, if I could jump in one more on that too, because the
Okay.
life, it can be an emergency, like externally, like Carrie was talking about, but there's a pretty crazy photo that I shared with the group before we recorded this, which shows like my frontal sinuses, and had I not had like the necessary surgeries to, address this, I could have, who knows, gone like septic or something in my brain, which is crazy. So like, this is not just, oh, they're like kind of sniffly, like you could burn your house down or have like brain damage. Like this is like really consequential stuff that, these, therapeutics that we're talking about today can make a huge impact on.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. And um, the interesting thing is, I hear this so much from other patients too. So this is not something unique, but it's also, so universal that a lot of patients have these really life-threatening situations that are quite scary. So thank you so much for sharing that.